Tanya Williams worked at a busy restaurant called Golden Plate in downtown Chicago. She was a 34-year-old black woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. Tanya was a hard worker. She never missed a day of work in her 5 years at the restaurant. Every customer loved how she always remembered their names and favorite orders. Tanya lived in a small apartment with her 12-year-old son, Marcus. Life was not easy for them. Tanya worked long hours to pay the bills and save money for Marcus's college. She woke up at 5 a.m. every day to get Marcus ready for school before her morning shift. At night, she helped him with homework, even when she was tired from standing all day. "Mom, did you see Caitlin Clark scored 35 points last night?" Marcus asked one morning while eating breakfast. He loved basketball and had posters of famous players on his bedroom walls. "No, honey, I missed it." "I was working the late shift," Tanya said, packing his lunch. "But you can tell me all about it when I get home tonight." Marcus smiled. "She's the best, Mom. I'm going to practice my shooting just like her after school today." It was a normal Tuesday at Golden Plate. Tanya served the usual breakfast crowd. Business people rushing to work, old friends meeting for coffee, and tourists looking at maps of the city. By noon, the lunch rush began, and every table was full. The restaurant door opened and a tall woman walked in. She wore a baseball cap, pulled low over her face and big sunglasses. She looked around nervously. Tanya noticed her right away. Even with the hat and glasses, Tanya knew who she was. Caitlin Clark, the famous basketball player Marcus loved so much. Caitlin quietly asked for a table away from the windows. Tanya understood immediately. Famous people often wanted to eat, in peace without fans bothering them. She led Caitlin to a corner table in the back where few people would see her. "Thank you," Caitlin said softly. "I just want to eat lunch without everyone asking for photos." "No problem at all," Tanya replied with a kind smile. "I'll make sure no one bothers you." Tanya brought Caitlin a menu and some water. As she walked back to get more drinks for other tables, she noticed 3 young men at a table near the front. They were pointing at Caitlin and taking out their phones. "That's Caitlin Clark," one of them said too loudly. "Let's get pictures with her." Tanya frowned. Caitlin had come here for a quiet meal, not to be bothered by fans. When the 3 men stood up and started walking toward Caitlin's table, Tanya stepped in their way. "Excuse me," she said politely but firmly. "That customer would like to enjoy her meal in private." "Come on, we just want one picture," the tallest man argued. "It'll only take a second." Tanya stood her ground. "I'm sorry, but I can't let you disturb our customers. If you'd like to leave a note, I can give it to her when she's finished eating." The men didn't like this. They complained loudly and said they would talk to the manager. Tanya remained calm and didn't move from her spot, protecting Caitlin's privacy. Eventually, the men returned to their table, but they kept looking at Caitlin and talking among themselves. Tanya made sure to check on Caitlin often, bringing extra napkins and refilling her water so she could block the view of anyone trying to take photos. "Is everything okay with your meal?" Tanya asked when she brought Caitlin's burger and fries. "This is perfect, thank you," Caitlin said. "And thank you for handling those guys. It happens all the time." "No need to thank me," Tanya replied. "Everyone deserves to eat in peace." As Caitlin ate, more people in the restaurant began to notice her. Whispers spread from table to table. Tanya saw a small crowd gathering outside the restaurant windows looking in. Some had phones ready to take pictures. Tanya quickly went to the kitchen and spoke to the cook, Jose. "The back door, is it clear?" she asked. Jose nodded. "Nothing but the dumpster and my old car out there." "I need a favor," Tanya explained. "Can you help me get a customer out without being seen? She's being bothered by fans." Jose understood and agreed to help. Tanya returned to Caitlin's table. "Miss Clark," she said quietly, "there's a crowd forming outside. When you're ready to leave, I can take you out through the kitchen and back door if you'd like." Relief washed over Caitlin's face. "That would be amazing. Thank you so much." When Caitlin finished eating, Tanya brought her bill. Caitlin paid in cash, leaving a very generous tip. Then Tanya led her through the swinging kitchen doors, while Jose created a distraction in the dining area by dropping a tray of empty glasses that made a loud crash. This way, Tanya guided Caitlin through the kitchen, past surprised cooks and dishwashers to the back door that led to the alley behind the restaurant. "I can't tell you how much I appreciate this," Caitlin said when they reached the door. "What's your name?" "Tanya. Tanya Williams." "Well, Tanya Williams, you just made my day." Caitlin reached into her pocket and pulled out a small card. "This has my personal assistant's number. If you ever need anything, tickets to a game, help with something, anything at all, please call. I mean it." Tanya was surprised but accepted the card. "My son Marcus is your biggest fan. He watches all your games." Caitlin smiled. "Bring him to a game sometime. Call that number and I'll make sure you get great seats." With that, Caitlin slipped out the back door and was gone. Tanya returned to the dining area, where things had calmed down after Jose's distraction. The three men who had wanted to bother Caitlin were talking to the manager, Mr. Phillips. They pointed at Tanya when they saw her. Mr. Phillips waved Tanya over, his face serious. "These gentlemen say you were rude to them and refused to let them meet a celebrity in our restaurant. Is that true?" "Sir, I was protecting a customer's privacy," Tanya explained. She clearly didn't want to be bothered during her meal. "Do you know who I am?" the tallest man interrupted. "My father owns 3 restaurants in this city. You can't treat people like us this way." Mr. Phillips looked uncomfortable. He was a new manager, only 2 months on the job, and always worried about bad reviews. "Tanya, we need to talk about this after your shift," he said. "For now, please stick to your other tables." The rest of Tanya's shift was uncomfortable. The 3 men stayed for another hour, watching her and making loud comments when she passed. Other customers noticed the tension, and some left smaller tips than usual because the atmosphere had changed. At the end of her shift, Tanya went to Mr. Phillips's small office in the back of the restaurant. He didn't look her in the eye when she entered. "Tanya, I've always valued your work here," he began, shuffling papers on his desk. "But today's incident is concerning. Those men say you were rude and played favorites with customers." "Mr. Phillips, I was just—" He held up his hand to stop her. "I know what you're going to say, but those men have connections and one is friends with the owner. They're threatening to post bad reviews online and tell their industry friends about their experience." Tanya felt her stomach drop. She knew where this was going. "I'm sorry, Tanya, but I have to let you go," Mr. Phillips said finally. "The owner called after hearing about this. It's his decision, not mine." Tanya stood still, shocked. "You're firing me for doing my job? For protecting a customer?" "We're letting you go for creating a scene and upsetting important patrons," he said, not meeting her eyes. "You can collect your final pay on Friday." Tanya left the restaurant feeling numb. How would she pay rent next month? What about Marcus's school supplies and basketball camp fees? 5 years of perfect work, and it was over because she did the right thing. As she walked to the bus stop, she felt the small card Caitlin had given her still in her pocket. Tanya wondered if she should call the number. No, she thought. She couldn't bother a famous person with her problems. But as the bus pulled up and she thought about facing Marcus with the news that she'd lost her job, Tanya reconsidered. Maybe, just maybe, Caitlin Clark had meant what she said about calling if Tanya ever needed anything. And right now Tanya needed help more than ever before. Tanya sat on the bus going home, the small card with Caitlin Clark's assistant's number feeling heavy in her pocket. She had never asked anyone for help before. As a single mother, she had always solved her own problems. But this time was different. She had lost her job for doing the right thing. The bus stopped near her apartment building. Tanya walked slowly, thinking about what to tell Marcus. How could she explain that she no longer had a job? The boy was smart. He would worry about money, and might even offer to give up basketball camp to help save money. When Tanya opened the apartment door, Marcus was doing homework at the kitchen table. "Mom, you're home early," he said, looking up with a smile. "Did they let you off work early today?" Tanya hung up her coat and sat down next to her son. "Marcus, I need to tell you something. I lost my job today." Marcus's eyes grew wide. "What? Why? You're the best waitress they have. Tanya explained what happened at the restaurant, how she had protected a customer's privacy, and how that customer turned out to be Caitlin Clark. You met Caitlin Clark? Marcus was now standing, his homework forgotten. The real Caitlin Clark? And you helped her? Yes, but that's why I lost my job. Some important customers got angry because I wouldn't let them bother her. Marcus shook his head. That's not fair. You did the right thing, Mom. I know, honey. Tanya pulled the card from her pocket. Caitlin gave me this before she left. It has her assistant's number on it. Marcus stared at the card. Are you going to call? I don't know. It seems wrong to bother her with my problems. But she told you to call if you needed anything, right? You need a job, Mom. Tanya looked at her son's earnest face. He was right. What did she have to lose? She picked up her phone and dialed the number on the card. A woman answered after 2 rings. This is Amber Lane. How can I help you? Hello, my name is Tanya Williams, she said nervously. Caitlin Clark gave me this number today at Golden Plate Restaurant. There was a pause. Yes, Ms. Williams, Caitlin mentioned you. She was very impressed by how you handled the situation today. Thank you. I'm calling because Tanya's voice caught. It was hard to admit she needed help. I was fired today for helping Caitlin. My manager said I upset some important customers by not letting them bother her. You were fired for that? Amber sounded shocked. I'm so sorry. Caitlin will want to know about this. Can you meet tomorrow morning? Say 9:30 at the Grand Hotel downtown. Caitlin is staying there while the team is in town. Tanya agreed, though she worried about what to do with Marcus. School started at 8:30, but she usually went straight to work after dropping him off. Is it okay if I bring my son? He's 12 and I don't have anyone to watch him since it's a school holiday tomorrow. Of course, Amber said. Caitlin would love to meet him. After hanging up, Tanya told Marcus about the meeting. He could hardly believe it. I'm going to meet Caitlin Clark? For real? He ran to his room and came back with a basketball. Do you think she'll sign this? Maybe, Tanya said, smiling at his excitement. But remember, we're going because I lost my job. This isn't just for fun. That night, Tanya couldn't sleep. She worried about finding a new job, paying bills, and what would happen at tomorrow's meeting. What could Caitlin Clark really do to help? Maybe offer a small amount of money or help her find another restaurant job. The next morning, Tanya and Marcus took the bus downtown. Marcus wore his best clothes, a blue button-up shirt and clean jeans. He carried his basketball in a backpack. Tanya also dressed carefully in black pants and a white blouse she usually saved for special occasions. The Grand Hotel was the fanciest building Tanya had ever entered. The lobby had marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and fresh flowers everywhere. She felt out of place among the well-dressed people walking through. Mom, look, Marcus whispered, pointing to a tall woman in the corner of the lobby. It was Amber Lane, Caitlin's assistant, who had texted Tanya a photo of herself so they could find each other. Amber smiled when she saw them. Ms. Williams, thank you for coming, and you must be Marcus. She shook the boy's hand. Follow me, please. We're meeting in a private conference room. They rode an elevator to the 15th floor. Amber led them down a hallway and opened a door to a small meeting room. Inside, sitting at a table, was Caitlin Clark. Marcus froze. His sports hero was right there in front of him. Caitlin stood up and walked over to them. Tanya, it's good to see you again, she said, shaking her hand. And you must be Marcus. Your mom told me you're a fan. Marcus couldn't speak. He just nodded, his eyes wide. I hear you play basketball too, Caitlin continued, smiling at the boy. Yes, Marcus finally managed to say. I play at school and at the community center. That's awesome. Maybe you can show me your skills sometime. Marcus looked like he might faint from happiness. Caitlin turned to Tanya. Amber told me what happened. I'm so sorry you lost your job because of me. It wasn't your fault, Tanya said. I would have done the same for any customer. That's what makes it even more unfair. Caitlin gestured for them to sit at the table. I want to help. As they sat down, the door opened again. A man in a suit walked in carrying a briefcase. "This is David Chen, my lawyer," Caitlin explained. "I asked him to join us because what happened to you wasn't just unfair. It might have been illegal." David shook Tanya's hand. "Ms. Williams, could you tell us exactly what happened yesterday?" Tanya described everything, how she protected Caitlin's privacy, the angry customers, and how Mr. Phillips fired her. "Did you receive any written warnings before yesterday?" David asked. "No. I've never had any problems at work. I've even won Employee of the Month 3 times," David took notes. "What about your final pay? Did they give you everything they owe you?" "I'm supposed to collect it on Friday, but Mr. Phillips didn't mention severance pay or my saved vacation days." "I see." David looked at Caitlin, who nodded. "Ms. Williams, we believe you have a case for wrongful termination. With your permission, I'd like to represent you and contact the restaurant." Tanya was surprised. "You would do that for me?" "Absolutely," Caitlin said. "But that's not all. Amber, can you bring in Jessica?" Amber went to the door and returned, with a woman who introduced herself as Jessica Torres, the Human Resources Director for the Chicago State basketball team, the WNBA team Caitlin played for. "Ms. Williams," Jessica said, "Caitlin has told me about your situation and how you handled yourself yesterday. We actually have an opening at Chicago State that I think you might be perfect for." Tanya looked confused. "But I'm just a waitress. I don't know anything about professional basketball." Jessica smiled. "The position is for a community relations coordinator. You would help organize player appearances, work with local charities, and manage our youth programs. It's about building relationships and treating people with respect, skills you clearly have. The pay is $65,000 a year," Jessica continued, "with full benefits including health insurance and a college savings plan option for your son." Tanya couldn't believe what she was hearing. That was more than twice what she made as a waitress. "But I don't have a college degree," Tanya said. "We value experience and character more than formal education," Jessica explained. "And Caitlin's recommendation carries a lot of weight with us." While Tanya tried to process this information, Caitlin turned to Marcus, who had been quietly listening. "Marcus, I heard you're going to basketball camp this summer?" "I was supposed to," Marcus said, "but now that Mom lost her job—" "Well, I happen to run a basketball camp for kids your age," Caitlin said. "How would you like to attend as my special guest? No cost to your mom." Marcus looked at Tanya, his eyes pleading. Tanya was overwhelmed by all of this. The lawyer, the job offer, and now the camp invitation. "I don't know what to say," Tanya admitted. "This is all happening so fast." "You don't have to decide right now," Caitlin assured her. "Take some time to think about it, but know that the offer is real." As the meeting ended, Caitlin signed Marcus's basketball and took a photo with him. The boy was so happy he could hardly stand still. Before they left, David the lawyer handed Tanya his card. "I'll contact the restaurant today. At the very least, we'll make sure you get every dollar they owe you." Walking out of the Grand Hotel, Tanya felt like she was in a dream. Yesterday had been the worst day of her work life. Today might be the beginning of something amazing. "Mom," Marcus said as they waited for the bus, "I told you calling that number was the right thing to do." Tanya hugged her son. "Yes, you did. Sometimes good things happen when you least expect them." But even with all the good news, Tanya couldn't help wondering, was this real? Could her life really change so completely in just one day? And if it did, was she ready for it? 3 days after meeting Caitlin Clark, Tanya sat at her kitchen table looking at the job offer papers from the Chicago State basketball team. The salary number still shocked her every time she read it. $65,000 per year. She would make more in 1 month than she used to make in 3 months as a waitress. "Did you sign it yet, Mom?" Marcus asked, coming into the kitchen after school. He dropped his backpack on a chair and looked over her shoulder at the papers. "Not yet," Tanya said. "It's a big decision. My whole life would change." "But it's a good change, right?" Marcus grabbed an apple from the fruit bowl. "You'd work for Caitlin's team, and we'd have more money." Tanya nodded. Marcus was right, but something still worried her. What if I'm not good enough? I've never done office. Work before. I don't know anything about running community programs. You helped organize the school food drive last year, Marcus reminded her. And you always talk to everyone at the building meetings. People listen to you. Tanya smiled at her son. When did he get so wise? You really think I can do this? No, you can, Marcus said with complete confidence. And Caitlin thinks so too, or she wouldn't have helped you get the job. Tanya picked up a pen. It was time to be brave. She signed the job offer and put it in the envelope to mail tomorrow. Just then, her phone rang. It was David Chen, Caitlin's lawyer, who was helping with her wrongful termination case. Good news, Ms. Williams, David said when she answered. I spoke with the owner of Golden Plate Restaurant. When I explained the situation and mentioned possible legal action, he quickly agreed to settle. Settle? Tanya wasn't sure what this meant. Yes. They'll pay you 3 months' salary as severance plus all your unused vacation days. And the owner will write you a letter of recommendation for future jobs. Tanya sat down, surprised. I never expected that. There's more, David continued. The manager who fired you, Mr. Phillips, he's been put on probation. The owner reviewed the security camera footage from that day and saw that you did nothing wrong. After thanking David and hanging up, Tanya told Marcus the news. He gave her a high five. See, everything is working out, he said excitedly. When do you start your new job? Next Monday, Tanya replied. But first I need to buy some new clothes. I can't wear my waitress uniform to an office job. The next day, Tanya went shopping for professional clothes. She had never been able to afford nice work clothes before. With the money from the restaurant settlement, she bought 3 new outfits, nice pants, blouses, and a blazer. She also got her hair done at a salon, something she usually did herself to save money. When Monday morning came, Tanya was nervous. She put on her new navy blue pants and white blouse, applied light makeup, and took extra time styling her hair. You look like a boss, Mom, Marcus said when he saw her. Tanya laughed. I don't feel like a boss. I feel like I might throw up. You'll be great, Marcus assured her. Just be yourself. That's why they hired you. After dropping Marcus at school, Tanya took the bus to the Chicago State basketball team headquarters. It was a large, modern building with the team logo on the front. She took a deep breath before walking through the glass doors. Inside, the receptionist smiled. You must be Tanya Williams. Jessica from HR called down to say you're starting today. She handed Tanya a security badge with her name and photo on it. This will let you access all the areas you need. Jessica will be down in a minute to show you around. Tanya clipped the badge to her blouse. It made everything feel official. She was really going to work here. Jessica arrived and gave Tanya a tour of the building. There were offices, a large gym where the team practiced, meeting rooms, and a cafeteria. Everyone they passed smiled and greeted Tanya warmly. And this is your office, Jessica said, opening a door. Tanya couldn't believe it. Her own office. It wasn't large, but it had a desk, computer, phone, and even a small window. At the restaurant, she didn't even have a locker to keep her things. I've never had an office before, Tanya admitted. Well, you deserve it, Jessica said. Now, let me introduce you to your team. In a nearby conference room, Tanya met the 3 people who would work with her on community programs. Michael, a former college basketball player, Ava, a marketing specialist, and Dion, a college student intern. We're so glad you're here, Ava said. We've been short-staffed for months. I'll try to learn quickly, Tanya promised. But I should warn you, I don't know much about basketball beyond what my son has taught me. Michael laughed. Don't worry about that. We need your people skills more than your basketball knowledge. Caitlin told us how you handled those difficult customers. That's exactly the kind of calm under pressure we need. Throughout the morning, Tanya's new co-workers explained their current projects. The team organized player visits to children's hospitals, ran basketball clinics in low-income neighborhoods, and managed a reading program where players read to elementary school kids. At lunchtime, Jessica took Tanya to the cafeteria. As they got their food, a tall figure approached their table. How's the first day going? It was Caitlin Clark. It's a bit overwhelming, Tanya admitted, but everyone has been very helpful. I knew you'd fit in perfectly, Caitlin said, sitting down with them. I have practice soon, but I wanted to check in. Oh, and I wanted to give you this. Caitlin handed Tanya an envelope. Inside were 2 tickets to Friday's game against New York. Front row seats for you and Marcus, Caitlin explained. After the game, you can bring him to meet the whole team. Tanya was speechless. Marcus would be so excited. Thank you for everything, Tanya finally said. I don't know how I'll ever repay you. Just do great work here, Caitlin replied. That's all the thanks I need. After lunch, Tanya returned to her new office. Her desk phone rang. Her first official call. Community Relations, this is Tanya Williams, she answered professionally. Ms. Williams, this is Principal Garcia from Lincoln Elementary School, a woman's voice said. We have a problem with our scheduled player visit next week. The teacher coordinator broke her leg and we might have to cancel. Tanya remembered one of the projects Michael had explained that morning. Don't worry, Principal Garcia, let me see what I can do to help. For the next hour, Tanya called people, checked schedules, and found a solution. By rearranging the visit slightly, they could still make it work. Principal Garcia was very grateful. When Tanya explained what she'd done to Michael, he looked impressed. You just solved your first crisis on your first day. Not bad at all. By the end of the day, Tanya was tired but happy. She had survived her first day at a real office job, and she hadn't made any major mistakes. She packed up her things, still, not quite believing this was her desk, her office, her new life. As she waited for the bus home, her phone pinged with a text message from a number she didn't recognize. It was from Mr. Phillips, her former manager at Golden Plate. Tanya, I heard about your new job. I wanted to apologize for how I handled things. You were right to stand up for what was right, and I was wrong to fire you. I'm sorry, Tanya read the message twice. An apology was the last thing she expected. She typed a simple reply. Thank you for saying that. I wish you well. On the bus ride home, Tanya thought about how much her life had changed in just 1 week. She had lost a job she needed, then gained a better one she never dreamed possible. She went from worrying about paying rent to planning for Marcus's college fund, and it all happened because she did the right thing, even when it was hard. As the bus neared her stop, Tanya smiled. She couldn't wait to tell Marcus about the game tickets, and to see what tomorrow would bring at her new job. Friday night arrived quickly. Tanya had finished her first week at her new job, and now she was taking Marcus to see the Chicago State basketball team play against New York. Marcus could hardly sit still on the bus ride to the arena. We're going to sit in the front row, Mom, he said for the 10th time, and we get to meet the whole team after. Tanya smiled at her son's excitement. Yes, but remember to be polite and not ask for too many autographs. I know, Marcus said. He was wearing his Caitlin Clark jersey and carrying a small notebook for autographs. The arena was huge and crowded. Thousands of people were there to watch the game. When they showed their tickets at the entrance, a staff member greeted them. Ms. Williams? I'm Tony. Jessica asked me to look out for you. He led them through the crowd to their seats right next, to the court. These are your seats. After the game, wait here and I'll come get you for the team meet and greet. Their seats were amazing, so close they could hear the players talking during warm-ups. When Caitlin came out onto the court, she spotted them and waved. Marcus waved back so hard Tanya thought his arm might fall off. She saw us, Mom. She waved at me. Marcus could barely contain himself. The game was exciting. Chicago State won by 10 points, with Caitlin scoring 28 points. Marcus cheered for every basket and groaned at every missed shot. Tanya, who had never been to a professional basketball game before, found herself getting caught up in the excitement too. After the final buzzer, most people started leaving, but Tanya and Marcus waited in their seats as instructed. Tony returned to escort them to a private area behind the court. The players will be out in about 15 minutes after they change, Tony explained. There's food and drinks if you'd like some while you wait. The room had tables of sandwiches, fruit, and cookies. Marcus took a cookie and a bottle of water, too excited to eat much. Tanya noticed other people in the room, mostly families, of the players and a few important-looking people in business clothes. A woman in an expensive suit approached Tanya. "You must be Tanya Williams," she said, extending her hand. "I'm Patricia Moore, the team owner." Tanya was surprised that the owner knew her name. "It's nice to meet you, Ms. Moore. Please call me Patty." "And this must be Marcus," she said, smiling at the boy. "I hear you're quite the basketball player yourself." Marcus blushed. "I'm okay. Not as good as Caitlin, though." "Few people are," Patty laughed. "Jessica told me about your first week in community relations. Solving that school visit problem on your first day was impressive." "Thank you," Tanya said. "I'm still learning, but I really like the job." "I have a good feeling about you," Patty said. "We need people who can think on their feet and stand up for what's right. Those qualities are rare." Before Tanya could respond, the door opened and the team walked in. The players were in casual clothes now instead of uniforms. Marcus's eyes went wide when he saw Caitlin among them. Caitlin came straight over. "Tanya, Marcus, did you enjoy the game?" "It was awesome," Marcus said. "That three-pointer you made in the last quarter was amazing." "Thanks, buddy. Want to meet the rest of the team?" Caitlin introduced them to all the players. Each one was kind to Marcus, signing his notebook and taking photos with him. One player even gave him a wristband she had worn during the game. While Marcus was talking to some of the players, Caitlin pulled Tanya aside. "How's the job going?" she asked. "It's wonderful," Tanya said honestly. "Everyone has been so helpful. I'm learning something new every day." "Great. Listen, I wanted to talk to you about something." Caitlin lowered her voice. "I'm starting a foundation to help single parents who are struggling. I need someone to help run it, someone who understands what it's like to work hard and still barely get by." Tanya was surprised. "That sounds like an amazing project." "I'd like you to be involved," Caitlin continued. "Not instead of your current job. This would be a small additional role with extra pay. You could help shape the program based on your own experiences." "Me? But I've only been with the team for a week." "That doesn't matter. You have the life experience we need. Just think about it, okay? No pressure." Tanya nodded, feeling overwhelmed again. In the past week, so many doors had opened for her, doors she never knew existed. After the meet and greet, Tony escorted them to a waiting car outside. "Ms. Moore arranged a car to take you home," he explained. On the ride home, Marcus couldn't stop talking about meeting the players. He showed Tanya all the signatures in his notebook and the photos on her phone. "This was the best night ever, Mom," he said. "And it's all because you helped Caitlin that day." Tanya smiled. "Sometimes doing the right thing works out in the end." The car pulled up to their apartment building. It was strange to arrive in a fancy car instead of the bus. Their neighbor, Mrs. Johnson, was outside walking her dog and did a double take when she saw them step out. "Tanya, is that you in that nice car?" Mrs. Johnson asked, her eyes wide. "It's a long story," Tanya laughed. "I'll tell you all about it sometime." The next morning, Tanya woke up early even though it was Saturday. She made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, thinking about Caitlin's offer to help with the foundation. It was another big opportunity, but did she have time for it? Her phone rang. It was Jessica from HR. "Tanya, I hope I'm not calling too early," Jessica said. "But I just heard from Patty Moore. She was very impressed with you last night." "She was very kind," Tanya replied. "She wants to meet with us on Monday to discuss a special project. She thinks you'd be perfect for it." After hanging up, Tanya sat quietly. 1 month ago, she was a waitress working long hours for little pay. Now, important people were asking for her opinion and offering her opportunities. Marcus came into the kitchen, still half asleep. "What's for breakfast, Mom?" "How about we go out for pancakes?" Tanya suggested. "I think we should celebrate." "Celebrate what?" "Everything. My new job, your basketball camp this summer, and—" Tanya paused, making a decision. "And the fact that we're moving to a better apartment soon." Marcus's eyes lit up. "Really? A new place?" Tanya nodded. With her new salary, they could afford a nicer apartment in a better neighborhood, closer to Marcus's school. She had been looking at listings online all week. "Can I have my own room?" Marcus asked. In their current apartment, he slept in the living room on a pull-out couch. "Yes, and maybe a small basketball hoop for the yard if we find a place with outdoor space." Marcus jumped up and hugged his mother. "This is all so awesome, Mom." As they got ready to go out for breakfast, Tanya thought about how her life had changed because of one simple act, protecting someone's privacy and standing up for what was right. She had lost her job because of it, but gained so much more. Later that day, Tanya called Caitlin to accept the offer to help with the foundation. If her experience could help other single parents find better opportunities, she wanted to be part of it. "I'm in," she told Caitlin. "I want to help other people the way you helped me." "That's exactly why I wanted you involved," Caitlin replied. "You understand that sometimes people just need one break, one person to believe in them, to change everything." After hanging up, Tanya looked around their small apartment. Soon they would move to a better place. Soon Marcus would have his own room and a safe neighborhood to play in. Soon, Tanya would help create a foundation that could change lives. Because she did what she thought was right, even when it cost her everything she had. 6 months had passed since Tanya lost her waitressing job. It was now a warm summer day, and she stood in the middle of a basketball court at the community center. Around her, 30 children aged 10-14 were practicing basketball skills. Some dribbled balls, others practiced shooting, and a few worked on passing. Marcus was among them, showing a younger boy how to position his hands for a proper shot. 5 more minutes, then we'll have a water break," Tanya called out. The kids nodded and continued practicing. This was the 6th week of the Shooting Stars summer program, created by Caitlin Clark's new foundation for children of single parents. Tanya had helped design the program, which combined basketball training with academic support and life skills lessons. The kids attended for free, with all costs covered by the foundation. Tanya checked her watch. Caitlin would be arriving soon for a surprise visit. The kids didn't know their basketball hero was coming today. "Water break," Tanya announced. The children ran to the side of the court where water bottles waited. As the kids were drinking water, the gymnasium doors opened. Caitlin Clark walked in, along with Patty Moore, the team owner, and a camera crew from the local news station. "Everyone, look who's here," Tanya said, though she didn't need to. The moment Caitlin entered, the children noticed. Their eyes went wide, and excited whispers spread through the group. Caitlin walked over to the children. "Hey, Shooting Stars! How's practice going today?" The kids crowded around her, asking questions and showing off their basketball skills. Caitlin gave high fives and answered questions patiently. The camera crew filmed everything. Patty Moore stood next to Tanya, watching, with a smile. "The program is going even better than we hoped," she said. "You've done amazing work, Tanya." "Thank you, but it's really a team effort," Tanya replied modestly. "Don't sell yourself short. This was your vision, combining sports with education and mentorship. The board is very impressed." While Caitlin worked with the kids on some basketball drills, a reporter from the news crew approached Tanya. "Ms. Williams? I'm Lisa Chen from Channel 8 News. We'd like to interview you about the Shooting Stars program. Would that be okay?" Tanya hesitated. She had never been on television before. "I think Caitlin would be better for the interview. This is her foundation. Actually, Caitlin specifically asked that we talk to you. She said you're the heart of this program." Tanya agreed to the interview. While the kids continued practicing with Caitlin, Tanya spoke to the reporter about how the program worked and why it was important. "Many of these children come from single-parent homes where the parent works long hours," Tanya explained. "I understand that life. I lived it. These kids need a safe place to be during summer, and they need to know that someone believes in their potential." "And I understand you were a waitress just 6 months ago?" the reporter asked. "How did you get involved with Caitlin Clark's foundation?" Tanya told a short version of her story, how she had helped Caitlin at the restaurant, lost her job, and then received an amazing opportunity. She didn't mention the lawyer or the settlement from the restaurant. Some details were private. "So this program is personal for you," the reporter observed. Very personal, Tanya agreed. My son Marcus is in the program too. He's right over there. She pointed to Marcus, who was now helping Caitlin demonstrate a passing technique. After the interview, Tanya rejoined the group. Caitlin gathered all the children around her. I have a special announcement, Caitlin said. Next month, all of you are invited to a Chicago State game as our special guests. You'll get to watch the game from a private box, tour the locker room, and meet the whole team. The children cheered loudly. For many of them, attending a professional basketball game was a dream come true. When the practice session ended, the parents began arriving to pick up their children. Many stopped to thank Tanya and to take pictures with Caitlin. The news crew filmed it all. As the last child left, Caitlin and Tanya sat on a bench in the now quiet gym. You've really made this program special, Tanya, Caitlin said. These kids look up to you. I just want to give them the opportunities I didn't have growing up, Tanya replied. And now that Marcus and I have been blessed with so much, I want to share it. Caitlin nodded. That's why Patty and I have another proposal for you. Another proposal? What do you mean? We want to expand the Shooting Stars program to other cities, Caitlin explained. Detroit, Cleveland, Atlanta, all cities with WNBA teams. And we want you to lead the expansion as the foundation's executive director. Tanya was shocked. Executive director? But I've only been working with the foundation for 6 months, and in that time you've created a program that's changing lives. You understand what these families need because you've lived it. That's more valuable than any degree or years of experience in an office. I don't know what to say, Tanya admitted. This is a huge opportunity. The job comes with a significant salary increase, Caitlin added, and you can hire your own team to help manage all the locations. Would we have to move? Tanya asked, thinking of Marcus and the new apartment they had just settled into. No, you'd be based here in Chicago, but there would be some travel to the other cities, maybe once a month or so. That evening, Tanya and Marcus ate dinner in their new apartment. It was in a safe neighborhood with good schools, and Marcus had his own bedroom for the first time in his life. The walls were decorated with basketball posters and photos of Marcus with Caitlin and the Chicago State team. Mom, I was on TV today, Marcus said excitedly. My friends texted me that they saw me on the news. I know, honey. I was on TV too, Tanya laughed. How crazy is that? Not crazy at all, Marcus said with the wisdom of a child. You deserve it, Mom. You work harder than anyone I know, Tanya smiled at her son. I have something important to talk to you about. Caitlin and Ms. Moore offered me a new job today. I would be in charge of starting Shooting Stars programs in other cities. Marcus's eyes widened. That's awesome, Mom. You'd be like a boss of everything. It would mean I'd have to travel sometimes, maybe 1 or 2 days each month. How would you feel about that? Marcus thought for a moment. I'd be okay, especially if it helps other kids like me. After dinner, Tanya called Caitlin to accept the position. They talked about next steps and plans for the program expansion. When she hung up, Tanya walked to the window of their apartment. The view wasn't spectacular, just the street and buildings across the way. But it was so much better than their old place. From here, she could see the community center where the Shooting Stars program took place. Lights still shone in the windows as another youth group used the space for evening activities. Tanya thought about the journey that had brought her here. 6 months ago, she had been a waitress struggling to make ends meet. She had stood up for what was right, even though it cost her job. That one moment had changed everything. She thought about her new role as executive director. She would help create programs that could change the lives of hundreds of children and their families, all because she had shown kindness to a customer, who turned out to be Caitlin Clark. Marcus came and stood beside her at the window. What are you thinking about, Mom? I'm thinking about how quickly life can change, Tanya said, putting her arm around his shoulders. 6 months ago, I was so worried about paying our rent. Now I'm going to help run programs in cities all over the country. Are you scared? Marcus asked. A little, Tanya admitted. But mostly I'm excited and grateful. You know what you always tell me, Marcus said. Do the right thing even when it's hard. That's what you did, Mom. And look what happened. Tanya hugged her son. He was right. She had always taught him to do the right thing, but she never expected it would lead to all this. She had simply been kind to someone who needed help. That kindness had come back to her many times over. As the sun set over Chicago, Tanya felt a deep sense of peace and purpose. Her new life wasn't just about having more money or a better job. It was about making a difference. For Marcus, for the children in the program, and for herself. Sometimes Tanya thought losing everything is just the beginning of finding something better.